Hello, 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 and welcome to Friendship Empire. I am the Empress, and this is our sixth part of our series on the scandals of the Norwegian Royal Family. And Marius Borg Hoiby is in trouble with the law yet again. Now, if it is your first time joining us, you might want to go back and catch up on 5 parts of what Marius and the rest of the Norwegian royal family have been up to lately. Mostly, we've been talking about Marius' latest troubles, and but also talking a little bit about his step-aunt, Princess Martha Louisa. But right now, we're going to focus on what's been going on with Marius. Movie of the week in the chat says, sounding good. Thank you. I'm glad you can hear me at all. With my new microphone, one of the many technological difficulties that we've been dealing with at the Friendship Empire over the past few weeks, which has negatively impacted our ability to get these streams and also one video out. That's why the part 5 of this series was a video and not a live stream, trying to conquer the technical difficulties that have prevented the streams from going live. But we are back live today on the 14th of December, 2024, and catching up on the past week of Marius' troubles. Now, let's go over here. Let me bring up this image. We have been using this handy dandy family tree of the Norwegian Royal Family from People magazine. So if you are not familiar with all of the members of the royal family, we'll introduce them briefly right now. Although I have a feeling if you're listening to this or watching this video, you're probably familiar with these people already, but let's just go over it just in case. So here we go. This is the king, Harald V. He is an elderly man, and he has been suffering from health problems as of late. This is his wife, Queen Sonja, who seemingly has never put a bad foot forward. They've been pretty good king and queen as far as anyone can tell up until this point. Then there are their 2 children. The elder of the 2 is Princess Martha Louisa, and she is currently on husband number 2. This man, Shaman the self-proclaimed shaman, as the many articles about him are quick to point out, self-proclaimed. And she has her 3 daughters from her first marriage. And then there is the younger son of the king and queen, or younger child rather, of the king and queen, Crown Prince Haakon. And he is married to this lady, Mette-Marit. And she came into the marriage with a son from a previous relationship. That is this youngish man, somewhat young. I guess it depends on your point of view. He's in his later 20s now. Marius Borg Hoiby, and then Mette-Marit and Crown Prince Haakon have 2 children of their own together. Princess Ingrid Alexandra, who is the heir to, sorry about that, to her father and grandfather, and the younger son, Prince Sverre, who is behind his elder sister in the line of succession to the throne. So where does Marius fit in? Well, Marius has no title or style. He is not a royal highness. He is not a prince of Norway, although he has been incorrectly styled or described as such at times. And he officially does not have any role as a Norwegian royal. He is in this weird sort of nebulous realm that royal families are now finding themselves as having members of the monarch's family who are not actually members of the royal family, meaning they are related, they're part of the family, but they are not, say, often part of the line of succession, and sometimes even if they are in the line of succession, they may not have, say, the title and style. They may not have any official role to perform. And for example, the king's granddaughters from his daughter, Princess Marta Louisa, are in that sort of position. They are not royal, they do not have princess titles, and they do not play any official role as part of the Norwegian royal family. They do not receive taxpayer money, that sort of thing. So Marius is in that position, and he has been raised since the age of, I believe it was 3. He was quite young when his mother married Håkon, and he has been raised in the royal family for the majority of his life. Now, where are we at? Well, Marius has been accused of many crimes at this point. What all set it off, just to go over this very, very quickly, because we will have a timeline in one of the articles coming up that will kind of briefly summarize this. Obviously, if you want the full details, you should go back and watch the previous parts of our series on the scandals of the Norwegian royal family. So this was the crime, or the alleged crime. He's not been yet convicted, but he has admitted to wrongdoing. Marius has, in an August of this year, incident that took place at the apartment of his then girlfriend. It ended up with, as you can see on the screen, I have to be careful with the language that I use. I should have, I suppose, said this up at the top. A little bit of a trigger warning if you have a problem with sensitive topics. You know, there are crimes that are going to be discussed. I will use the most YouTube-friendly and general audience-friendly language that I can use, but these are still, difficult topics. So if there are children around, you might want to get them out of the room. And if you yourself are sensitive, just be aware that we're talking about, criminal charges, very serious ones, and against largely his ex-girlfriends. So in August of this year, this was the criminal case that sort of broke this wide open. And Marius did admit that while under the influence of 2 substances, one of which being liquid and the other one being a what we like to refer here on Friendship Empire as marching powder. You're maybe familiar with that term. It's not our term. It is a more widely used term, but we can't use the actual name of the substance because of YouTube. So I think you know where I'm going with this. He was consuming adult beverages and ingesting marching powder, combined to create a very bad environment in his head, in his body, and unfortunately in the ex-girlfriend's apartment. In these photos, you can see this is a chandelier that is smashed on the floor of her bedroom. And up here is a bladed instrument of the kind you might find, say, in your kitchen, which was stuck into the wall of her bedroom. These acts were committed by Marius. He was accused. He was arrested. He's been charged. And in a statement he released, or I guess his attorney, I believe, released on his behalf, he admitted that he had problems. Some of this will be covered in the articles we're going to read. He admitted he had problems. He basically said, I'm sorry, but everything that pretty much he's done since August kind of indicates that maybe he's not exactly sorry. So where are we now? Well, let's start off not with his latest charges, but what has happened in the past week since our last update. Well, not so bad stories. It's going to start off a little more gently. We hear that Marius was receiving $20,000 a month from his parents. That's money. It's Norwegian krone, not American dollars, Canadian dollars, British pounds or euros or what have you. So 20,000 Norwegian krone is about, I think it's less than 2,000 US dollars. So less than $2,000 a month. Movie of the Week in the chat says he's acted less than sorry. Yes, indeed. Marius has acted less than sorry. There have been There's been video, there have been photographs and recorded messages that have come out that have proven that maybe his publicly released mea culpa statement was just PR and not his actual feelings on the matter. So back to this article, which came out, let's see the date, on the 2nd of December. So a little bit of an older article, but nonetheless, it was wondering what is Marius doing, because he's had various jobs, not really a career. He, for a time, worked as the editor of a magazine that I don't believe is in publication, or if it was published, maybe it was online any longer, in London. He did that briefly. He briefly worked as a motorcycle repairman in Norway. He doesn't really seem to have much in the way of a job. And there have been previous articles discussing his income. He's been living recently in a home on the estate where his parents live, where the crown prince and princess live, not in their home, but a secondary house on the estate where some of the crimes allegedly were committed. And it's been known that it's famous amongst his friends that the parents, the crown princely home on the Skaugum estate, is known for Marius throwing parties, which they called Skaugumfest or Skaugumfesten, basically Skaugum parties. So it seems like Marius just sort of flits around parties, dates, and gets into trouble with, not just party people, but criminally people with criminal convictions and other things. And if you want to know the details of that, again, go back and watch the other parts of our series, specifically when we discuss what they call the Marius Nettwerk or Marius Network. So moving forward on this article, got $20,000 a month from parents. It may seem that Mette-Marit's firstborn has not stood on, it says her, they mean his, it's a mistranslation of Norwegian into English, not stood on his own 2 feet, but rather has been given financial crutches by, it says her, they mean his, mother and father, and there's Mette-Marit on the left and Marius on the right. Okay, it says he has no income of his own. In recent months, there has been a storm surrounding Marius Borg Hoiby, 27, who has now been charged with a number of offenses. The latest in the series are 2 R crimes. I cannot say that word. You can read it on the screen if you are watching, which are being investigated by the police. He has already been charged with, among other things, I think I can say this, bodily harm, damage, threats of unaliving, and inappropriate behavior in close relationships. In this regard, he has had to explain himself to the police during questioning several times and, according to TV2, has been asked questions about his personal finances. And here again, we see Marius on the left with his mother, Mette-Marit, on the right. She looks pretty happy and tan, and he looks, well, a bit deathly pale and not too thrilled. I know, he's Norwegian. Northern Europeans can be quite pale, but he's quite pale even for a Northern European. So maybe his lifestyle is to chalk that one up to his lifestyle. Okay, back to the article. According to the website's information, Marius explained that he does not have his own income, but that he still had money. Now, there are probably more people scratching their heads and wondering how it's possible. Yes, he has had help from his parents. Well, I don't think that's surprising, is it? It is not unheard of for parents to help their children financially, but what is likely to attract attention is the amount. And here again, we have Marius, Mette-Marit, his mother, and Crown Prince Haakon, his stepfather. Marius explains, according to TV2's information, that he is talking about 20,000 kroner that he receives from his parents every single month. TV2 does not know whether this is Morten Borg, Marius's biological father, who has his own convictions for substances on record, or Crown Prince Haakon, 51. He admits in police questioning that it is the Crown Prince who arranges his bills, together with Crown Princess Mette-Marit, 51. Marius is not said to have any control over whether he has debt, but he reportedly acknowledges that his financial situation is strained. According to TV2, he receives financial help from both his parents and his friends. His friends? I'm sorry, but if your step-grandfather is the king of Norway, I can't imagine why you would want, or need, rather, especially need, to receive financial help from your friends. Now, your parents, yeah, sure. Okay, that makes sense. But friends? Especially when you consider who Marius's friends are and what they do. Okay, so the caption here on the photograph: Marius Borg Hoiby has spent the last few years owning this villa in Skaugum. I don't actually think he owns it. A stone's throw from his childhood home. And it should be this little red house in the front of the photograph should be the Marius actual residence. But I don't think he owns it, because I think that's a mistranslation, perhaps because it is on the royal estate. However, if he is living rent-free and getting about $2,000 a month from the bank of mom and dad, I'm guessing, well, it's not actually that much when you think about living a, high-end lifestyle in say, a capital city like, Oslo. I imagine, it's going to be an expensive lifestyle, even with the freebies that he must get all the time, being who he is. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that just under $2,000 US per month for a young man like Marius, who gets to live rent free, do you think that's enough spending money? I actually think that's kind of low, but maybe that's just me. Okay, continuing the article. When the tax figures for 2022 were published about a year ago, they showed that Marius had more income then than in 2021. This also applied to his wealth. Excuse me. And here's the very unpleasant video of him when one of his friends asks him about accusations against him. Shall we play this? We played this last time. I guess I can play it again without having to worry about copyright issues or that sort of thing. Let's see. Here's Marius, the charmer. Here, let me make it full screen. We'll watch this again, because it does go fast. So here you see Marius looking, well, not his best, casually, I guess at home. I think this is in Skaugum, I think they said, with his belly showing, wearing a sleeveless t-shirt that where I'm from is referred to as a, let's see, a spouse, a spouse somethinger. I don't think you're allowed to say it anymore, but yeah, probably not the type of shirt that you want to be wearing when you're accused of inappropriate physicality with ladies, particularly your former partners. And then when asked about this, basically, how did you break up? How did your last relationship end? Marius responded by this. Bam.
Se og Hør har fått tilgang til
And of course, he thinks that's
materiale fra en hemmelig Snapchat-gruppe, men noen av Oslos mest hardbarka
and that's part of why it seems as though, how do I make this go back? Here, let me try to make this go unfull screen again. There we go. That was one of the reasons why it is believed that Marius is not as contrite, as sorry as he's put forth in that public statement. In the chat, Movie of the Week says, it seems low, especially for his lifestyle. Yes, the roughly $2,000 a month that Marius is getting from his parents. Okay, continuing with the article. In 2002, he was listed with an income of 283,128 Norwegian kroner. So again, if translating into US dollars, it's about a tenth. So I guess that would be, under $30,000 for the year, and a fortune of over 2 million Norwegian kroner. So of course, that would be just over $200,000, which is a nice bit of money in the bank, but not a crazy amount of money for, I assume, someone in his position. Whether this is money he earned himself or whether he received it from his parents is unknown. The year before, however, he had a very low income, only 30,220 Norwegian kroner. He had assets of 57,000 Norwegian kroner. Well, yes, that is quite a difference. So they're talking about Marius's money. He had a bunch of it. Where did it come from other than his parents, when he does not seem to have much in the way of certainly not an actual career, but often he doesn't even appear to be employed in any kind of job. So, but he has been questioned by the Norwegian police, not only about his let's say, domestic crimes regarding his ex-girlfriends and at least one other woman, but also his connections to people with criminal convictions and criminal allegations involving the sale and movement of one particular substance in particular, the marching powder that Marius is so fond of, and other things that are attached to that kind of business, such as money laundering and fraud. And again, some of the people he knows are actually convicted, not just accused. And one of the people that have been convicted of a marching powder-related felony, his own biological father, Morten Borg. And we covered that in a previous stream. So what else has been going on in Norway? And again, he did catch some more charges, and we're getting to that. We're going roughly chronologically through the week. So now this happened. Football, soccer, depending on where you're from. It's either football or soccer. They had a final, the cup final, and the Crown Prince and Princess were in attendance, as I guess the Norwegian, I don't follow the sport, but yes, there was a final between two Norwegian, I guess, teams, and the Crown Prince and Princess were there, and this is what happened. I will play this video, and then I'll explain what happened. So, unfortunately, the text is in Norwegian, and I'll pause it when you can see, okay, right down here, you can't really read it, and it's a little hard to see. There's the sort of wider photograph up here, and then the zoom in down here, and people unfolded a banner, this white fabric with the red writing. And what it said, and unfortunately you can't really read it under the pause. The text is under the pause, but it says in Norwegian something to the effect of "lock up Babakar and Hoiby." Hoiby, of course, being Marius, and Babakar, as we will read in the article, is a soccer player, a football player. So I think it's a little hard to see. This is the football, and then here is security removing the banner. And okay, that's just Håkon and Mette-Marit on the red carpet. So let's see if I can roll this back again. If you were not able to see it from the beginning, I'll just let it play again. And, you get the idea. Some soccer fans unfurled a large banner that said, "Lock up Marius, here it is." And the Crown Prince and Princess were there, so that must have been awkward for them. It is not known whether the crown prince and princess took the banner with them. Yeah, the security should have collected the pieces of fabric, brought them to the crown prince and princess, and said, Your Royal Highnesses, we thought you might like this banner which says that your son should be imprisoned for crimes against ladies. And they said, great, we will do that. We'll go right back to Skaugum and say, Marius, hey, check it out. Look what we brought. And he probably posed with it with a big smile and a thumbs up, as we've seen him do previously with tabloid covers of his trouble, his arrest, his crimes. Okay, so reading the article, and wait, what was the date on this? Let me go back. Okay, so this is the 7th of December. At Ullevål Stadion tonight, the cup final between, forgive me for my poor Norwegian pronunciation, I apologize. I am trying to learn, and I'm doing my best. I know, it's not very good. Molde and Fredrikstad is underway. Where the Fredrikstad supporters stood, a banner was hung that read, Cage, Babakar, and Hoiby. The leader of the Fredrikstad supporters, Enrique Leonidas Arnesen. That's a heck of a name. That's really exciting. Enrique Leonidas Arnesen. I wonder if his family were fans of 300. It was Leonidas, right? I think so. In Plankehaugen is sorry for what happened. I didn't see the banner, but it shouldn't have been up. It was very stupid of those who made it, he tells Dagbladet. Yes, and there it is. There's a photograph of the Burine. I'm not sure what the Norwegian is there. There's Babakar, that's OG, and then there's Hoiby. This was done by an individual during a fight. This is not something Plankehaugen is involved in. Are you going to pursue the case? Pursue the case? What, you want to lock up the people who put the lock up banner across the... Come on. It's just nonsense. Oh, please. Football fans do way worse than this. And they don't get in trouble for it. Yeah. Oh, movie of the week. Thank you. Yes, Leonidas. Yes. In my head, Mr. Arnesen's parents were big fans of 300 and Enrique Iglesias. And so they decided to name him Enrique Leonidas Arnesen. I'm making that up. Okay, back to the article. We are not doing anything about this since we are not involved. I have no further comments on the matter. Okay. In addition to Marius Borg Hoiby, Babakar Sar, the former Molde player who has been accused of several crimes, is probably also being targeted. He is wanted internationally. Well, that's terrible. Okay, well, we're going to skip over this thing about Babakar because I'm not interested in him. The banner was removed. The police confirmed to TV2. And then here, Crown Princess Mette-Marit and Crown Prince Haakon are in the audience during the cup final. So here they are, possibly seeing that banner. I mean, they must have seen it. Okay, back to the article. We are aware of it and have cooperated with the security guards at the stadium, and that banner has been removed. Yes, we saw that, says operations manager Sven Martin Egge. Okay. He further tells TV2 that he has no thoughts about the banner for the Fredrikstad supporters and says that they are now concentrating on the cup final itself. Well, as they should. Crown Prince Haakon and Crown Princess Mette-Marit are present during tonight's cup final. It is not known whether they brought this banner with them. No, yeah, they're the ones that brought it. The mistranslation from Norwegian to English is unfortunate. I mean, it's not funny what's going on with Marius, but there is a lot of unintentional comedy that comes out of sometimes the way these articles are written. As a matter of fact, I have a really ridiculous article that is really trying to find any way to connect the Marius case with anything else that's newsworthy. I think it was last stream we covered an article that was bringing Bill Gates' daughter who just had a baby into the Marius thing. But that was great because it tied it into Mette-Marit's connections to Jeffrey Epstein, and we were able to discuss that finally. So that was in part 5. But anyway, continuing with this article. Okay. They're just saying that they tried to contact Marius's attorney, and no comment. So okay, so that was the big banner at the soccer football game incident. So that must have been fun for Håkon and Mette-Marit. Then Marius decided to go and get himself a new criminal charge. He's really batting 1,000. So this is from the 8th of December and then updated on the 9th. So what day of the week was that? I'm trying to catch up. Let's see, the 8th. Okay, so that was last Sunday, and then Monday was the 9th. Okay. New violation of the restraining order. Before the weekend, Marius Borg Hoiby is said to have left the rehab clinic and contacted one of the girls he has a visitation ban on. It says he has a visitation ban on the girl, one of the girls. That's not quite. It's the other way around. There are restraining orders against Marius by, I think, at least 2 of the women. These that he has. I think it's both of them are ex-girlfriends. It's a little confusing because some of his alleged victims have not been named, although some have been identified, some haven't. It gets a little confusing because, as I've mentioned in the past, the media, or maybe it's the legal system, but the media is not giving the ladies who are anonymous good anonymized aliases, if you will, like victim number 1, victim number 2, or, Ms. A, Ms. B, Ms. C. Something where it's easier to keep track of which victim was involved in which set of incidents, because there's a lot of stuff going on with Marius. But if you're not caught up on that, you can go back and listen to the other videos and streams. And if not, there will be more catching up. There will be timelines and whatnot that will come up in these articles we're reading now. So here we go. Before the weekend, Marius Borg... Oh, I said that. Okay, so moving forward. And there's Marius checking out his phone. A pitch dark cloud hangs over the Norwegian Crown Prince family ever since Crown Prince Mette-Marit's eldest son, Marius Borg Hoiby, was arrested and charged with, I think I can say this, assault and battery in an apartment in Frogner on the night of August 4. The case has steadily increased in both seriousness and scope. And the Frogner apartment incident is this one, the one with the chandelier on the floor and the bladed implement in the bedroom wall. And that took place with his most recent girlfriend, Rebecca. She has been identified. I'm not revealing someone's name that it's not already out there. They tend not to identify her in these articles, but she has already been identified. So I don't know why they have anonymized her, but not some of the other ex-girlfriends. Anyway. Okay. So, Hoiby has been arrested 3 times this fall. August 4, September 13, and November 19. You can read the charges and timeline at the bottom of the case. They mean the bottom of the article, and we will do that. In November, however, came the most serious accusation to date. Okay, and here they have the photograph of Marius after he changed his appearance. Marius Borg Hoiby has grown a mustache and dyed his hair black. And if you can see, the photograph up here is how he usually looks, clean-shaven and quite blonde. So this was quite the look. And it was confusing why, when they said that he was about to enter rehab, why he would need to change up his physical appearance, since if you're in rehab, you're not in public view. So why would you need to alter your appearance? It was a little weird. And he got arrested right after he did that. Okay. In a press release from the Oslo police, it was announced that Hoiby had been arrested by the police for the third time. At the same time, it was announced that the charges had been expanded to include an R crime of a new woman in her sleep. Okay. The following Tuesday, the police announced that they wanted to detain Marius, but before the case came up in court, the police expanded the charges to include 2 R crimes, partly based on findings they had made on the material from his own cell phone during the night and early morning hours. And this is a photograph of Marius' defense attorney. And so, indeed, what happened was his devices were seized by the police. They went through at least one phone. I think there were a couple phones mentioned, and they found videos of Marius, and with more than one video of Marius with a woman, and there was more than one woman, in these videos. And they determined that this indicated evidence of an R crime. And so that's how they came to these. They were not reported by the alleged victims on their own. And as you can see, when it says it happened in their sleep, there were some indications that maybe at least one of the victims alleged victims was unaware that anything had happened until she had been contacted by the Norwegian police to say, hey, we found videos on Marius's devices and it looks like something happened. And supposedly that was more than one alleged victim. I hope I made that clear. Okay, back to the article. Marius also made history when he, as the first member of the Norwegian Royal Family, was sentenced to a week in custody on Wednesday, November 20. He was released 7 days later. Initially, it had been reported that he was going to spend 2 weeks in police custody, but then it was reduced to just 1 week. After completing his detention, he is said, according to Se Ahor, to have traveled to England, where he had been placed in a rehabilitation clinic for substance addicts. Se Ahor has previously reported that Hoiby, in consultation with the Crown Prince couple and his father, of course, his biological father, I assume they mean, because the Crown Princely couple being his stepfather, Crown Prince Haakon, who you see on the screen right here, and his mother, Crown Princess Mette-Marit, and that being Marius, and his biological father being Morten Borg, had chosen an institution in the UK for his rehab treatment. Should be taken very seriously. In the first statement Hoiby gave through his defense attorney, Øyvind Brattelian, the 27-year-old acknowledged that he had a troubled relationship with substances and had been treated for this on previous occasions. Excuse me. In the statement, Hoiby also claimed that he should resume this treatment and take it very seriously. And this is the quote from his statement. I have several mental illnesses that have caused me throughout my childhood and adult life challenges. I have struggled with substance abuse for a long time, something I have been in treatment for previously. I will now resume this treatment and take it very seriously. He said, among other things, the press release from Hoiby. Now, as far as I know, this is the first time that it has been mentioned publicly that Marius has any mental problems now or in the past or in his childhood. The royal family, to the best of my knowledge, never mentioned that he had any problems. So now it comes out. Okay. Back to the article. According to Se Ahor, he was prevented from attending his original stay at the rehab clinic due to his detention, meaning he got picked up and taken to jail as he was supposedly about to leave the country to go to rehab. So instead, he went to prison for the week, and then after that, he was supposed to go and enter rehab for real. According to Seahor, he was prevented from attending his original stay at the rehab clinic due to his detention. Both Dagbladet and Nettavisen have written that the police took action against Hoiby the night before he was to travel abroad for rehab to overcome his problems, right? Seahor was nevertheless able to learn that everything was in place for him to begin treatment for his pronounced problems and years of mental illness after his time behind bars. Now, if you take into consideration that he was first arrested in August, but then he wasn't jailed until November. He had, well, a good 3 to 4 months to receive treatment, to go to rehab. A few months is not long enough to really conquer the problem, but it's a good start, and it probably would have been a good look if he really meant that he wanted to overcome his problems and that he was really sorry, but that's not what happened. They waited until November, and then supposedly he went to rehab after that, after the prison term, or jail. I guess it was jail, really. Okay, so Seahor asked the police the following questions about Hoiby at the time. Can Marius Borg Hoiby freely travel abroad while the investigation is ongoing? Has Marius Borg Hoiby's passport been confiscated? And that's an important question because Hoiby had a diplomatic passport that he was able to travel on. And a diplomatic passport means that, you basically can go, especially in the, this world that we live in, air travel is pretty strictly controlled in terms of security. But if you have a diplomatic passport, well, you can skirt a lot of those security, checks and whatnot that the average person would have to go through. Your bag being checked. I don't mean checked as in you get it loaded onto the plane. I mean examined. I mean searched. Your person not being searched, not having to go through a scanner, that sort of thing. So considering that he is linked to people that are involved in the criminal enterprises that would be a big help to have someone who can travel unsearched, unbothered, and having special VIP diplomatic, not just like a celebrity, where you would get a lot of leeway in terms of being able to do what you want when you travel. But a diplomatic incident is not something that the average, I'm guessing, airline employee wants to deal with. So has Marius's diplomatic passport been confiscated? After his detention, he is supposed to check into the institution, meaning rehab, but after just over a week, he is said to have left rehab. Information Seahor has gained access to also shows that Hoiby has reportedly contacted several friends back home in Norway, including at least one of the women he has a restraining order against. Well, that doesn't seem like a very good rehab. And I guess doing the math, he could not have spent more than a week, 2 weeks, possibly less than a month. Definitely less than a month, right? After just over a week, he's said to have left rehab. So even being generous, right? Possibly no more than 2 weeks. Okay. And there's Marius again. Shows no remorse. It is uncertain whether Marius Borg Hoiby has chosen to check into the clinic again. It was not long ago that Seahor's editor-in-chief, Ulf Andersen, published an open letter to Hoiby in which he both showed understanding and respect. And I think we read that article on either part 1 or part 2. But also explained that it is extremely frightening that Hoiby apparently shows no remorse for the harm he has caused others. Of course, you may have had your darkest moments where you and your family have regretted, cried, been in despair, and wondered how everything could have gone so darn wrong. Days when you wanted to curl up and apologize to those you have hurt. But you know what the worst thing is? It doesn't seem like you regret it at all, Andersen wrote in the letter, which can be read in full here. You deserve to be in prison. There it is. Read more. You deserve to be in prison. And I think we did read it, actually, on a previous stream. Okay, the fact that Hoiby chose to leave rehabilitation after only 1 week of treatment helps to substantiate what Andersen writes in his letter to the Crown Princess's eldest son. Okay, so here they have wow, look at the timeline. It's quite long. I'm not going to read all of here we go. Here was another, I won't read all of this, but I will come back to it at the end of this article, and we will quickly go over the bullet points. I'll skim it so you can go through the timeline quickly. Here you go. Shows no concern whether Marius Borg Hoiby understands the seriousness of the inappropriate physicality case against him is still an open question. However, he takes the time to mock one of the many reports when he was on a cabin trip last week. And I don't think that was last week as per the publication of this article. But here he is flipping the bird at the camera with a big smile on his face, holding a case of beer. And that is Seahor with him on the cover, talking about his criminal activity. He doesn't look sorry. And he doesn't look like he's going to be sober if he is in the photograph at all. So, continuing the article, demanding for the family, the Crown Prince and Crown Princess have been relatively tight-lipped about the situation involving Hoiby. Crown Prince Haakon has nevertheless stated that they have worked to ensure that the bonus son, as they referred to his little Marius when he joined the family, that he would be Haakon's bonus son. I guess that's considered nicer than stepson. I don't know. Doesn't make much of a difference to me. Can receive treatment. So Haakon said, we, as a family and parents, have been concerned that Marius will get help and have worked for a long time to get to a place to get more help for rehabilitation and treatment. It is something we ourselves prioritize highly. Then it must happen within the framework set by the legal system, he told the press during a UN mission in Jamaica in November. I think that last sentence basically means, well, if he has to go to jail, then he can't go to rehab at the same time. But obviously he had time both before and after to do more rehab, and he didn't. Would have been better. Both Juliana Snekkestad, 29, and Nora Haukland, 27, have victim status in the case, along with another. It says ex-boyfriend. That is a mistranslation. These are all ex-girlfriends that we're referring to. And this is Juliana with Marius. Juliana was the, third girlfriend back. There was Rebecca, who had the apartment incident in August. Nora was before her, and Juliana was before Nora. Snekkestad and Haukland have both told their stories publicly, and how, both on their social media and in various podcasts. Both women have received a lot of support and attention for what they have been carrying in secret for so long. Seahor has asked Marius Borg Hoiby's defense attorney Øyvind Brattelian for a comment on this case, but has not yet received a response. And there's Marius with Nora. They were together from 2022 to 2023. But Brattelian responds when the inquiry comes from Dagbladet, the slightly classier publication, Seahor being the trashier, gossipier publication. Okay, Hoiby's defense attorney, lawyer Øyvind Brattelian, now confirms for the first time that Hoiby is in rehabilitation, but at the same time contradicts the information in Seahor, Dagbladet says. And Brattelian says, what Seahor writes is not true. Hoiby went straight to rehabilitation after he was released from custody. He is still undergoing treatment. He is determined to continue, even though it is demanding. He tells Dagbladet. He also tells Dagbladet that Hoiby has not violated any restraining order. Beyond that, I will not comment further on it now. Seahor's editor-in-chief, Ulf A. Andersen, tells Dagbladet that he registers what the defender says. Seohor guarantees that our information is correct. Beyond that, we have no comment, he tells Dagbladet. Well, I'll see your no comment, and I will also give a no comment. We have also asked the palace's communications manager, Guri Varpa, who is really earning, I think that's her paycheck, for a comment, but have so far received no response. So here we go. These are the charges. There are now 6 victims, I guess, alleged victims, or, well, one is he admitted to doing it, but has not been convicted. So I guess 5 alleged, 1 confirmed. A victim in the criminal case against Marius Borg Hoiby. His ex-girlfriend, a woman in her 20s. This is Rebecca with the Frogner incident with the, supposedly she was hospitalized with, I think it was a concussion, due to many blows that she received during this attack, which left the chandelier on the floor and the bladed implement in the wall. Marius is also charged with violating a restraining order against her. In a statement on August 14, he admitted to having committed that attack in the apartment while under the influence of 2 substances. Then, alleged victim, victim number 2, alleged, Juliana Snekkestad. That was a DV charge. He denies that. And then Nora, the other girlfriend, alleged victim. That would be number 3. Also a DV charge, and he says he didn't do it. Then there was a man in his 20s that Marius is accused. Well, there's a tape of it, and they have it in some of these articles, but it is in Norwegian, and therefore, unless you speak Norwegian, you would not be able to understand what the threats are, but they are unaliving threats. This was a message on Instagram. There were also phone messages. Maybe that was against one of the women. But anyway, there was definitely a call. Okay, but Marius has pleaded guilty to that. So that's 2 confirmed victims and I guess 2 alleged victims at this point. I'm not saying I disbelieve it. I am simply saying Marius has denied it and he has not yet been convicted, so that has to be alleged. Okay, a 4th woman, so this is now a victim or alleged victim number 5. This is one of the R crimes where the woman was supposedly unconscious or otherwise unable to resist the act. He denies this. And then a 5th woman, this would be a 6th victim total. This woman, the police are saying that they think, based on a video or more than one video, I don't know, that was pulled off of Marius' phone, that she is also the victim of an R crime by Marius, that would have occurred in September, and he says, no, I didn't do that. The only thing he's admitted to are the unaliving threats via Instagram against the man, the unidentified man. I don't know why that man hasn't been identified, and the attack from August on Rebecca, the girlfriend with the Frogner apartment. So the timeline, just to go over it quickly, I'm not going to read all of these words because that will take forever. August 4th, that was the Frogner incident. August 6th, that's when his attorney confirmed that Marius was charged with assault, and Mette-Marit decided not to go to the Summer Olympics in Paris. The next day, the 7th, it was confirmed that the charges were assault and battery. And August 13, the police confirmed that Marius had been arrested, and the palace confirmed that Mette-Marit had contacted the victim. There was a lot of shady, sus activity by the crown princess related to Marius, possible witness tampering or intimidation, possible destruction of evidence. It gets kind of messy. August 14, Marius admitted, he released the statement where he admitted to what happened at the Frogner incident. August 16, that's when it was revealed that Juliana was being questioned, and she said, yeah, he was a problem. August 20, that's when Nora was officially labeled a victim, and she also said he was inappropriately physical. August 23, then the threats against the Rebecca related to the Frogner incident. August 26, that's when Håkon made his statement about, this is serious. August 27, that's when Marius was first questioned by the police. August 28, he went to Italy. That was a case where he went to Italy for the wedding of some Norwegian socialites, and supposedly other invitees, other guests, threw a fit and said, we are not going to attend this wedding if Marius is there. And he was uninvited. But nonetheless, he was there in Italy, and the gossip press or paparazzi or what have you filmed him just sort of milling about and, with a lady. September 3, that's when, I guess, Rebecca got a restraining order against him, and he was scrubbed from the the Norwegian Royal Family website. September 10, the police said, yes, we spoke to Marius in 2023, and there are actually edited tapes. Again, they are all in Norwegian, but I've listened to them and I've translated them, and it's the police talking to Marius saying, hey, we know you are involved with substance. We know that, you have a problem and you're hanging out with people who aren't just, let's say, hard partiers, but people who are involved in the actual, sale, distribution, transportation of this substance, and that's pretty serious, and you're implicated in this seriousness, and maybe you need to chill and find a better class of friends. And of course, Marius is like, yeah, I know, it's all good. So here we are. Okay, September 11, that's when Sehor published audio from that very conversation. September 13, Marius was arrested for the second time while on a trip to a cabin, like a hunting cabin. And that was because of he allegedly violated a restraining order, and he denied that. The next day, September 14, he catches more charges: reckless conduct, violating the restraining order, another count of bodily harm, and a DV in relation to Juliana Snekkestad and Nora Haukland, and then the unaliving threats against the man. September 25, Nora is questioned again. October 8, defense attorney, that's for, I think Rebecca, one of the ladies, says that Marius is being investigated again for violating the restraining order. Violating the restraining order again. He just can't stop, apparently, violating restraining orders. So what good are they in this case? It seems like maybe you need to, I don't know, bump it up a notch, something else. October 16, after completing 8 police interviews, Marius' attorney says Marius has now accused Juliana of DV. And that's certainly possible, but of course, even if Juliana did engage in some kind of, DV against Marius, that doesn't cancel out anything he may have done to, I suppose, her or anyone else. I guess we really need to hear specifically what went on, and this has not been brought into the court yet, and the court proceedings have been kept private, which the media obviously is not happy about. They want more hay, they want more fodder, but Marius's own defense attorney has complained about it. He says he wants it out and public. Excuse me. Okay, so October 28, now Juliana's attorney says they want the police to question Crown Princess Mette-Marit. And we're going to be there's an article coming up that is going to talk about that issue a little bit. October 31, Marius' attorney says that he had his driver's license removed on recommendation of a doctor, and it was reported that it was Mette-Marit, Marius's mother, who wanted a doctor to get Marius' driver's license revoked, which is odd, and I'm not really sure what that would accomplish, especially because, well, you're going to find out Marius does not need a driver's license to operate a motor vehicle. November 18, Marius arrested again. This time he's gotten a new R-crime charge with a new alleged victim. And also, they expand the charges related to the Frogner incident to include basically a DV charge and another charge for violating the restraining order. November 20, that's when Marius was taken into police custody, and they say we're going to crime charge him again for yet another woman. All right, and then November 27, he was released, supposedly traveling to England for rehab, and then December 8, Marius reportedly left. This says escaped, which makes it sound very dramatic, like it was a jailbreak. I'm sure he just walked out of a rehab clinic in London, also said to have contacted several friends back home in Norway over the weekend and broken the restraining order against at least one of the 3 women he has been ordered to restrain. No, that is a very terrible mistranslation. Obviously, one of the 3 women he has been ordered to stay away from, not to restrain. That would be completely bizarre and very inappropriate considering the charges against Marius. Okay, so this is where we were at as of the 8th and 9th. So last weekend, he's got another charge, breaking the restraining order. So everybody needs a friend and everybody needs someone to speak out for them. So then what happens? The 9th, the next day, good friend responds. For over 4 months, there has been a storm surrounding Marius Borg Hoiby. It has almost become a witch hunt, says the friend. Well, when you're posing for photographs like this, maybe not so much of a witch hunt, but anyway. So a friend comes out and decides to, give a little love to poor Marius, because everybody needs a friend, right? I'm not going to read this entire article, but I just think when you have someone coming out saying it's a witch hunt and he's a really good guy, and look at the photographs and the other things that they choose to illustrate this article with. So first they have the flip-off photo, okay, and then scrolling down, you see this headline, "Our Crime Woman After Family Dinner." We read that article on a previous stream about how Marius supposedly hung out with his then girlfriend, then I think it was dropped her off, or she dropped him off in the center of Oslo, I think it was, and went home to where they shared a home. She went back to their home, which I think was the Skaugum residence, if I'm remembering correctly, and then he went off to party, and that somehow ended up with him allegedly R-criming another woman, while his girlfriend was, like, I guess, home sleeping at Skaugum, at the home that they were sharing at that time. So that's pretty horrible. Oh, and it took place, I think that was the one they said took place on Palm Sunday. Like, ugh, okay. So not like there's a better day, but just adding the Palm Sunday to the R-crime was just extra ick. Okay, so then they illustrate with the slapping video that we played earlier. Yes, and then this person, the anonymous friend of Marius, of course, they want to remain anonymous because it would be too stressful to be brought into the picture. But yes, look at what it says. In recent months, photos of Marius posing with what are believed to be substances, banknotes, meaning cash money, and a toy, a tool that throws projectiles at a high rate of speed. You know what I'm talking about. Bang, bang, bang. Have been published, including in Europe's largest newspaper, the German tabloid Bild. And we looked at that. Let me see. I'm somewhat nervous to navigate away. Let's make sure this link is a good one. Here we go. I believe we may have read this article in a previous stream. We definitely covered what was going on in this. Here's a photo of Marius displaying his ink, his tattooage, most of it, I guess. You can't read this whole thing. We did actually read the article, but anyway, there are really bad photographs of Marius. Yes, posing with his, gangster regalia, if you will. He is quite the posing bad ass. I'm afraid to say it on YouTube. Oh, movie of the week in the chat. The slapping is like a kung fu move. Yeah, I guess so. I guess you're right. Okay. So how are we defending the friend? How are we defending him? Yes, in October, several media outlets, including Sehor, published a picture of Marius pointing his finger at their paper edition. That was the magazine cover photo at the top, where he himself is depicted in a story titled, "Shows No Remorse." Remember, this article is supposed to be about how his friend is defending him and saying that he's actually not that bad of a guy. Not really. He is a nice guy and an incredibly good and loyal friend. Marius would never do anything bad to his friends. Well, what about his girlfriends? He says and continues, but it's no secret that he may have lived a little too hard for a little too long. He stepped into the wrong environment and ended up a little out of sorts. Well, that's putting it mildly. Witch hunt. The headlines about Marius in the foreign press are among the things that have created reactions. Well, the British press is just vicious. Comes with the territory. The British The Sun has, among other things, referred to the 27-year-old as a royal beast and a royal arcrimeist. In its coverage of the case, the friend points out that Marius has neither been charged nor convicted. Well, he has been charged. He has been charged with many things. It has become a one-sided portrayal and almost a witch hunt against Marius in the media. Marius is innocent until proven otherwise. Well, that is true. Okay, I'm not going to read the rest of this because I think we get the point that, yes, he's being charged. He's being accused of many things, charged with some of those things. And of course, yes, he's innocent until, I guess, convicted. It doesn't look good. Let's just put it that way. But one never knows. So, okay, this is more about, he's really a good guy. His dad's friend who gave him the job being the so-called editor of a London magazine. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. Okay. And there's Håkon and Marius, looking like nice people. Not people with a bunch. Well, he's not accused of our crimes. Marius is accused of our crimes. So, okay. So then that just reiterates some stuff that we've seen before. And we are a little more than an hour into this stream. If you've been listening and enjoying, I would invite you to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment in the chat. Leave a comment on the video. If you're checking this out not live, definitely leave a comment and let me know let us know. What do you think about Marius? What do you think about the Norwegian royal family? Is this going to bring down the very, very small Norwegian royal family? There aren't that many members of the family to, if any of them get in trouble, you can't really pass over too many and find more to come be on the throne. Is this the ultimate bad look? What do you think is going to happen? Here is another article from the 10th of December. I think this is a lot of the same information. We're just going to skim it briefly before moving on. Marius Borg Hoiby continuing to contact. He has now broken the restraining order 4 times. And here's disguised Marius with the brown mustache. Okay. So yes, on Sunday evening, Seohor revealed that Marius Borg had taken a break from his full-time rehabilitation and again violated the restraining order against one of the 3 women he is now restrained from. Okay, they finally translated it correctly. Yes, okay, and a lot of repetitious information. Marius initially wanted to exercise his right not to explain himself to the police, but after a pause for thought, Crown Princess Mette-Marit's son decided to give a statement to the police. It has been a tough and difficult few weeks for everyone, which has made it difficult for him to fully focus on his own problems. Now that the interrogations are complete, he will shortly begin full-time rehabilitation, as he has wished. I don't know about that. His defense attorney, Oyvind Brattelian, wrote to TV2 after the interrogations were over. Police knew our crime. It would turn out that the interrogations were not over after all. The police have charged Marius with several our crimes. One of them is said to have occurred at his home in Skaugum the same week that he was being questioned by the police. Yikes. You think maybe if you were being questioned by the police, you might calm down on the alleged criminal activity. But this is the guy we're talking about here, Marius, with his middle finger up at his tabloid cover here. So there you go. That's Marius. That's the Crown Princess's son. After Marius was released from custody, he was entitled to rehabilitation, as Seohor previously revealed, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we went over. Now Marius has broken the law again, as he has contacted one of the women he has a restraining order against, or rather, has against him. This offense is said to be the 4th time Marius has broken the restraining order. All right, so Seohor has asked the police. This is the 4th time Marius has broken the restraining order. How many times will the police allow a person to break the restraining order before the police demand detention? Fair enough. Police investigators were not aware that Marius had violated the restraining order, according to Dagbladet. Marius' defender, meaning his defense attorney, told the same newspaper that it was not true. Well, sure, but how do the papers know this and the police don't? New interrogations of Marius? Marius was placed under a restraining order on September 3rd after harassing his ex-girlfriend by phone. On September 14th, he was charged with violating the restraining order. On October 8th, the it says boyfriends. It's a mistranslation. It means ex-girlfriends. Defense attorney Mette Ivana Larsen confirmed to NTB that the police were again investigating new violations of the restraining order. On November 18, Marius violated the restraining order for the 3rd time when he was arrested in a car without a driver's license. There you go. He had his driver's license removed, but it didn't prevent him from getting in a car and driving with his ex-girlfriend, who it says is under a restraining order, but I assume that means the restraining order was against Marius by the lady. Now he has again violated the restraining order for the 4th time. And this is an old photograph of Mette-Marit with Marius, who would have been about, I think, 15. Here from the Clinton Global Initiative in New York City. Well, that's a strange place to take your teen son, but okay. How the police respond. On Monday, Seohor asked the Oslo Police District about the following. Can the police confirm that they have received notification that Marius Borg Hoiby has violated the restraining order? Seohor has also asked whether the police are investigating the new offense. What are the police doing to secure new evidence? and whether the police are planning new interrogations of Marius Borg Hoiby. No comment, writes Runa Alstadsater, maybe, at the Oslo Police District. Neither the injured girl's legal counsel, Mette Ivana Larsen, nor defense attorney Øyvind Bratlien have responded to Se Ahor's inquiries. And then they go over the timeline again. We will not be doing that because we just did. So the restraining order violation and a possible additional R crime, which he has not, I guess, formally been charged for. Okay, so we are about to get into an article about the latest, newest R crime allegation against Marius. However, I'm going to take a brief break, refresh my cup of tea, take a little stretch, and if you are joining us live, you too may want to take a little stretch break, take a breather, refresh your beverage, and get ready for the continuation of our update on Marius Borg Hoiby's latest criminal troubles in our series on the scandals of the Norwegian Royal Family. This is part 6 if you want to catch up. There are 5 other parts, 4 live streams, and 1 pre-recorded video. And you can go back and check those out. And I'm going to take a little break, and I will be back in, let's say, 5 to 10 minutes to continue our update on Marius. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. This is Friendship Empire, and I am the Empress. We are continuing part 6 of our series on the scandals in the Norwegian Royal Family, the current scandals. And boy, oh boy, are there a lot of them. Well, actually, I guess there are 2 ongoing scandals which keep having new episodes in succession. And we are covering one of those 2, the crimes or criminal allegations against Marius Borg Hoiby, the stepson of the Crown Prince Haakon of Norway, the step-grandson of the king. And where we left off, we were about to discuss the investigation that the Oslo police have launched against Marius and this latest, what we are calling an R crime, because we are trying to be careful for both YouTube and sensitive listeners and viewers. So I think you know what I'm talking about, and if you've been following the case, and if you've been following this stream, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So proceeding with the article. This is Dagbladet, and it is from, let's get the date. It is from 11 December. So that's 3 days ago as we are recording this on the 14th. Under investigation for new Skaugum episode, Marius Borg Hoiby, 27, is being investigated for another spicy offense. Sorry, I don't mean to use a silly word, but I have to be careful with language on YouTube. The police suspect that this also took place on the Crown Prince and Crown Princess's property in Skaugum. And if you weren't aware, the Skaugum estate is where both Crown Prince Haakon and Crown Princess Mette-Marit and also her son Marius live. This little red house here is Marius's residence, and then there is a larger residence where the Crown Prince and Princess live. So, reading the article, Dagbladet is informed about this from several sources. When Crown Princess Mette-Marit's son, Marius Borg Hoiby, was released from custody on Wednesday, 2 weeks ago, the police announced that he was under investigation, but not charged for another spicy offense. Spicy offenses include everything from intimately offensive behavior to the R crime. The details of the police investigation have not previously been known, but now Dagbladet can report on what they suspect happened. According to Dagbladet's information, the incident that forms the basis for the investigation is said to have occurred in Skaugum earlier this year. Here, the police suspect that Hoiby assaulted a woman who was present with a friend. Dagbladet is informed. Witness status. Dagbladet is aware that the woman's friend who was present is the same woman that Hoiby is charged with R-criming on September 26th of this year, also in Skaugum. Now, again, this gets a little confusing with the anonymization of the alleged victims, so it's a little confusing to know who was who in this situation. As I've said before, I really wish that they would at least identify the women with anonymization, aliases that make sense. You know, woman number 1, woman number 2, Ms. A, Ms. B, something like that. So I'm trying to keep it straight. It may be difficult to keep it straight, I understand. Furthermore, continuing the article, Dagbladet is informed that the woman who was offended in the new investigation initially had the status of a witness in the R-crime case involving her friend. The friend's defense attorney, Gunhild Vehushea, has not responded to Dagbladet's inquiries about this case, but has previously stated that her client is cooperating with the police. And there is Marius obviously at a black tie event. Dagbladet has also presented the information in this case to Hoiby's defense attorney Øyvind Brattelian and Lil Vosbotten, I guess, defense attorney for the woman who is being insulted in the new investigation. They do not wish to comment, nor will the Oslo Police District, which is investigating the case against Hoiby. Gets substance treatment. The same evening that Hoiby was released from custody, he traveled abroad to begin treatment for the substance abuse problems he has previously stated he is struggling with. His defense attorney later confirmed this. Hoiby went straight to rehabilitation after he was released from custody. He is still undergoing treatment. He is determined to continue, even though it is demanding. Okay, well, we heard that before, and this is a repetition of some of the things that we have heard before. Okay, so then they go over the charges again, and we did that already. And, okay, so that's that article. Now that brings us to, this was, I think, the 11th, yeah. Now, moving forward, what did Marius do? Let's see. Now, more details and a bit of a shocker. As you can see here, we will get to that. So this is December 12th now. Marius Borg Hoiby called the victim on an encrypted line. Marius Borg Hoiby recently contacted one of the women he is accused of R-criming. Now the woman claims that the R-crime did not happen. There's Marius. On Sunday, Say Ahor revealed that the quote rehab unquote stay, I don't know why they're putting it in quotes now, in London had gone awry when Marius Borg Hoiby, 27, had violated the restraining order against one of his ex-girlfriends for the 4th time. What Say Ahor writes is not true, said Hoiby's defense attorney to Dagbladet. However, on Thursday, police attorney Andreas Kruszewski confirmed that the police had initiated a new investigation into violations of the restraining order, according to Aftenposten. The ex-boyfriend's, its boyfriend, again, it should be girlfriend, it is a mistranslation of Norwegian. The ex-girlfriend's defense attorney, Mette-Marit Larsen, also stated that the police have now secured new evidence in the case. I can confirm that she has been questioned and that the documentation has been secured, Larsen told the newspaper, and that is Mette-Marit Larsen right there. New woman, new breakup. Marius Borg Hoiby was placed under a restraining order against several women after the police seized his mobile phone and searched his home in Skaugum. The police are said to be in possession of several films in which Marius films himself with the women. Based on this, the police have so far charged him with 2 counts of R-crime without what we're calling conjugal relations. Several other incidents are also reportedly under investigation by the Oslo police. And obviously, reading between the lines here, they took his phone, they looked through, they found a bunch of spicy videos, and now they are trying to determine if the spicy interactions were consensual or non-consensual. And in the cases of the ones they are believing to be non-consensual, they are charging him with R-crimes, which is why some of these are mentioned as with the woman being unable to either consent or defend herself, fight back, or what have you. That this happened when they were asleep, unconscious, or somehow otherwise incapacitated. And the police have contacted these women, and I guess at least one of the women said that she had no idea that this had occurred. So they believe that that was an R-crime because a thing had occurred that she was not aware of, and they knew that because Marius had filmed it. Okay. So And, this being a photograph of mostly the Norwegian royal family. This is King Harald. This is Queen Sonja. This is Crown Prince Haakon, Crown Princess Mette-Marit. That is Mette-Marit's mother, Marit Tjessem. That is, this is Prince Sverre, their son. This is Princess Ingrid Alexandra, their daughter. And then there's Marius, who is her son and her grandson, and his stepson, and therefore the half-sibling of these two. Okay, we got it down. All right. The reason why Marius has been placed under the new restraining order is primarily so that he cannot influence the victims he is accused of R-criming. Well, makes sense. Uses encrypted messaging service. Now, however, Seahor can reveal that Marius has once again broken the restraining order from his quote rehab unquote stay abroad. Now, I would really be curious to find out where Marius was staying in London that they are now referring to it as a quote rehab stay unquote. Was he not in any rehab at all? Was he just at a hotel? What was going on in London? It sounds like they know, but they haven't said. According to Seahor's information, in recent days, he has made direct contact with yet another of the women he has been ordered to restrain. Well, no, he hasn't been ordered to restrain the women. He has been ordered to stay away from the women. And this is another photograph of the Skaugum estate. The circle on the right here is Marius's home, and the circle on the left is the house of the crown prince and princess. Okay, where Marius would host his famous parties. Okay, the woman is the victim that Marius is accused of R-criming at home in Skaugum on the morning of September 26th of this year. From informed sources, Seahor has confirmed that the communication between Marius and the offended woman took place through the encrypted messaging service Signal. This is a messaging service where the voice calls and text messages are encrypted and can only be seen by the sender and recipient through an app on the mobile phone. The Signal app is highly controversial because the quote owner, unquote, of the conversation can delete it even on the recipient's phone. This has made the app a preferred tool for criminals and activists, among others. Well, plenty of people use Signal for things that aren't necessarily, criminal undertakings. But anyway, back to the article. Does not experience being R-crimed. On Wednesday evening, the Marius case took a new turn when the woman's defense attorney, Gunhild Velushea, went to the media and said her client did not feel she had been R-crimed. It is not known whether this occurred as a result of the new contact between Marius and the victim. And here is a video still with Marius twice in the photo, Crown Prince Haakon and Crown Princess Mette-Marit. The police define this as R-crime without conjugal relations. She herself does not experience being R-crimed by Marius Borg Hoiby, Velushea told VG on Wednesday evening. Hoiby and the woman were said to have been friends, and they also had contact after the alleged R-crime. According to the lawyer, the woman now wants the restraining order lifted. Not responding. Seahor has contacted the woman's defense attorney and asked if she knows about the contact and what they have talked about. We have also asked if the R-crime charge has been a topic of conversation. She has not yet responded to our inquiry. Well, I would think that that would fall under attorney-client privilege, which I assume is the same or similar in Norway as it is in other countries. All right. And this is an image of the defense attorney that we were, or attorney, I guess, not defense attorney, attorney for the woman who we were just mentioning. That's not the woman, it's the her attorney in that photo. Okay. Marius Borg Hoiby's lawyer, Øyvind Bratlien, has also been contacted for comment. He has not responded, right? And they contacted the Oslo police. Okay, so they said, I can confirm that Hoiby is being investigated for a new violation of the restraining order. Police attorney Andreas Kruszewski tells Say Horror. Well, okay, so I guess we have at least a couple possibilities here. One is that there legitimately was no war crime, that the police have misinterpreted, at least in this case, the video involving the unnamed woman and Marius, and that this has all been a big misunderstanding. Or perhaps Marius has been trying to convince the woman to drop the charges and have the restraining order lifted. Perhaps he's very persuasive and charming. Or perhaps there could be intimidation. But we don't really know, do we? Especially if it was through Signal and they deleted the texts. So we would not know. We would only have the word of Marius, I suppose, and the woman. And at the moment, the woman is saying, oh, nothing bad happened. Let's make it go away. It is a bit suspicious since Marius is supposed to be in rehab, but instead he's leaving rehab to contact the woman and try to get her to, I guess, be on his side. So we've got an investigation on another R crime, but now the alleged victim is saying, I am not a victim. We don't know. How would we know? We were not there. Okay, another issue that has come up is Mette-Marit, and here she is, the crown princess. She has been asked, one of the attorneys, I think it was Mette Ivana Larsen, maybe, one of the attorneys for one of the alleged victims, one of the ex-girlfriends of Marius, I believe, wants to question Mette-Marit, who has been implicated in, it was said that she went to Marius's home on the Skaugum property, that she did something, she disposed of something. Was it evidence? Was it substances? Was it, phones? When the police found one of Marius's cell phones busted, he told them that he was in the shower at the time that happened, if I'm remembering correctly. So he even implicated his mother himself. Marius did. And Mette-Marit apparently contacted, I think it was Rebecca, one of the exes, the woman from the Frogner incident. And it, obviously no one really knows what happened between them. If you want to look on the bright side, you could say that Mette-Marit was simply a concerned parent who wanted to smooth things over with the ex of her son, who she probably, had a friendly relationship before the incident. Or you could look at it as possibly intimidation of a witness/victim. Well, I guess in this case it's a victim, not a witness. It could be victim intimidation. I guess you're a witness still. But anyway, it could be considered threatening, especially if Marius was threatening, which he's been accused of, and at least admitted to the unaliving threats, I believe, against the unidentified 20-something man, which was one of the criminal charges that Marius has received recently. So, will Mette-Marit be questioned in the court? Will she speak to police? What will happen? Because as a member of the Norwegian Royal Family, it's my understanding that she might not specifically have immunity, that I believe the monarch does, the king, but she is not the king. So will the king step in? And the first line here, will Harald, the king, intervene like he did with Martha? Now that's referring to his daughter, Princess Martha Louisa, and we mentioned this, I can't remember if it was in part 5 or part 4. I think it was part 4, because part 5 was our abbreviated Marius update. Part 4 was continuing the story of Princess Martha Louisa and her new controversial husband, the Shaman. And We talked about how Marta, well before she ever met the shaman, she was involved with a married man, and that man's marriage broke up, and she was named as a correspondent to the divorce proceedings in England, and the aggrieved spouse, the wife, the estranged wife, wanted Princess Marta Louise to come into court and testify and be questioned because she claimed that her husband had been cheating on her with the princess. Now, the king, as this article is going to tell you, the king said, no, I will not allow her to travel to London and be questioned, and that was the end of that. So, can he do it again? Can he do it in Norway, his own country? So, let's see. The king can stop Mette-Marit. Well, I guess we got our answer. Lawyer wants Mette-Marit questioned when Marta was summoned as a witness in the spicy divorce case in London. That's their own translation. That's not me. King Harold said no. Marta is destroying a home, said the woman who summoned Marta. Read the details. Well, we will. Okay, so this is from the 14th. This is from today as I am recording this, or streaming it and recording at the same time. Okay, Crown Princess Mette-Marit, 51, has had to endure this fall that the criminal life of her firstborn, Marius Borg Hoiby, has been exposed to the Norwegian people. After little Marius was picked up by the police, oh, there he is, little Marius, oh boy, with that little helmet of blonde hair, with very, very, very young Mette-Marit in her bridal gown. This was the wedding. This was the royal wedding back in the day. Okay. After little Marius was picked up by the police and thrown into solitary confinement after, well, beating his ex-girlfriend up in a marching powder, and they did not say that he took that other substance. Let's see. How could I call that one? Well, it's sometimes known by the letter X, and it's sometimes known by the letter E. But no, he admitted that he did it under marching powder and alcohol, not that other substance, unless something new has come out, but no. Startling revelations about his son. No, it means her son. Now that says, look at that. That says both substances. That's not how it's been reported. Okay, we're clicking on that and we're reading that in just a minute. Okay. Startling revelations about her son have been in the pipeline. Mette-Marit has always tried to keep a protective hand over her son. The Crown Princess has previously given the press clear instructions to stay away and not write about him. Among other things, she has written an open letter, which is published on the royal house's online pages, so the royal family, the Norwegian Royal Family's website. And I believe there is a Marius law. This has been mentioned before, and we talked about it a little bit. I think mentioned it in at least one previous stream, that they basically said, yes, like this is an unusual situation that this child who is not royal is becoming a part of the royal family to a certain extent, not officially, but semi-officially, and so cut him some slack because he's not actually going to be, doing royal business. Okay, so, and they did, because he apparently got busted for marching powder possession a while back, and that was kind of swept under the rug. Okay, back to the article. Most of the Norwegian press has previously failed to write articles about Marius. And they have actually written like, oh, he had a girlfriend. Like, they talk about his dating, and that's pretty much it. This despite the fact that Marius has been, I'm not going to use that word, dragged by the police, and that he has been investigated for reckless driving on royal property. And yes, in a previous stream, we saw the results of Marius's reckless driving. When Marius, 11 days after he was arrested in connection with a violent incident at his ex-girlfriend's house in Frogner in Oslo, sent out an apology to the victim of the violence, he also made a revelation. And we've read that before, where he claimed that he had mental problems from childhood, and also that he had been dealing with substance issues for a while and had gotten some treatment before and will continue to get treatment, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I would also like to apologize to my family. I know that my actions have greatly affected you. That is putting it mildly. Mette-Marit was informed. This means that the Crown Prince and Princess have known about it says their, I think they mean his, substance problems for a long time. The many incidents surrounding Marius, the reckless driving, and the destruction of royal property at Skaugum have probably been known. And on a previous stream, one of the articles that we read, they had a photograph that either Marius had taken, or I think it was from the social media of one of his friends, and it looked like some kind of like a Humvee type, if I remember correctly. It wasn't just like an SUV or a Jeep. It looked like some kind of Humvee thing had crashed into a fence at night. And obviously they were, tooling around in the car, driving at high rates of speed, probably on substances, and, oops, crash and go boom. Okay. So, and there they are, Mette-Marit here, and Marius, and there's Håkon off to the side, and Prince Sverre in the background. Okay, back to the article. What many are wondering now is whether the alleged acts of violence against the ex, it says boyfriends, it means girlfriends, have passed Mette-Marit by, or whether she has had conversations with the girls about the alleged episodes of violence, or whether she may have seen signs of violence, such as bruises. Oh, goodness. Now we're bringing into the discussion the idea that Crown Prince Håkon and Crown Princess Mette-Marit could have seen evidence of abuse on Marius's exes and apparently did nothing about it. That's kind of scary. We have seen in previous articles, they have had photographs of, for example, one of, I'm not sure if it was Rebecca, on a ski holiday with Marius, Håkon, Mette-Marit, and possibly the other two, Princess Ingrid and Prince Sverre, but definitely the Crown Prince and Princess with Marius and the girlfriend. Okay. And yeah, there was at least another photograph of Mette-Marit, like totally cash, walking the dog and like shopping with, I think it was yet another girlfriend. So he definitely has had his girlfriends hanging out, vacations, casual, and also bringing them to the occasional like official event, royal event. Okay. Sehor is aware that Crown Princess Mette-Marit has had good contact with several of Marius Borg Hoiby's girlfriends, some even after the breakups. Mette-Marit has done what she can to include Marius and his entourage in the family, whether it be vacations, parties, or cabin trips. The close ties were also expressed when Mette-Marit spoke to Marius's ex-girlfriend on the phone days after he was charged with violence against her. Nora Haukland, 27, also reported, it means she notified the Crown Princely couple that there was issues with Marius. She said this in an interview with Aftenposten. Nora and Marius were a couple from the summer of 2022 to the summer of 2023. Nora told the newspaper that she asked her former in-laws for a meeting, which, according to Aftenposten, took place last summer. In the meeting, Nora said that Marius needed professional help. Juliana Snekkestad is also said to have warned Mette-Marit about violence. Aftenposten wrote that Snekkestad, with whom Hoiby was a lover and cohabitant from 2018 to 2022, sent Mette-Marit a text message in January 2023. According to the newspaper, it was also addressed to Crown Prince Håkon. In this message, she allegedly warned of Hoiby's alleged problems with aggression and violence against her. Mette-Marit can become a crown witness. The case against Marius has only grown in scope after Sehor's revelation. Mette-Marit's son has currently been charged with a number of offenses. Only the reported theft of a moped has been dropped. I don't even remember that charge being mentioned. The investigation is now in full swing, and the police are doing everything they can to secure evidence to strengthen the charges so that any prosecution can be well-founded in court. Told The Sun, it has previously been reported that Mette-Marit tipped off her son that the police were on their way. She is said to have cleared up his house just before the arrest. Someone from the palace had tipped Mette-Marit off that the police were on their way after the police themselves had informed the palace of the impending arrest. Well, that reeks of corruption, and I'm sorry, but I simply cannot read this. Every time I read about Mette-Marit hearing that the cops are coming and her apparently rushing over from I'm imagining her from the Skaugum main residence, rushing over to Marius's house and playing Karen from Goodfellas, like trying to dump substances down a toilet, running around in a panic. It's an idea very unbecoming of royalty. Let's put it that. Unbecoming of pretty much anyone, but very unbecoming of royalty. It's a bad look, even though it's an imaginary look. An imaginary look? Does that make sense? I think you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so where did I leave off? Okay, let's scroll down. The SIM card in Marius's mobile phone disappeared without a trace after he was called by the police half an hour before Mette-Marit drove him to Jansloka school, where he was arrested. And apparently that was the school that he attended from the time he was a child, that was across the street from the Skaugum estate, that he apparently left his home, walked to, I guess, the schoolyard or the sidewalk in front of his old elementary school, I guess. That's how I'm, understanding it, to be arrested, which is just very odd. There's a weird symbolism. It's very oddly, sadly poetic. But anyway, the police have not yet questioned Crown Princess Mette-Marit, who is Marius' mother, of course. So far, Mette-Marit has remained silent. When the press has asked her for comment, she has given a standard response. Out of respect for all those involved in that case, including Marius, I am not commenting at this time and ask for respect for that. Well, I don't think I don't know if anyone in this case has really been treated with respect. But the ladies certainly aren't being treated with the highest level of respect. If the police are telling their alleged victimizer that they're coming and giving them time to cover up. Yeah. Okay, and another old photo of Mette-Marit in the pink and little Marius. Okay. Continuing, turned the charges around after Marius chose to be questioned by the police as he had promised. It became known that Marius turned the case upside down, and Marius is now accusing one of his ex-girlfriends of being violent towards him. Well, he's accusing Nora? Juliana? No, I think it was Juliana. Hoiby has explained himself about 3 turbulent relationships where he obviously takes his share of responsibility for it being so. In the interrogations, he has explained himself about abuse in close relationships from at least one of the offended women. Borg Hoiby's lawyer, Øyvind Brattelian, told Dagbladet. Marius has also been arrested again, as the police believed he had violated a restraining order against his ex-girlfriend. He has also been stripped of his driver's license and a tool that hurls implements at a high rate of velocity, at a high velocity, bang, bang, that license by the police. He made headlines again after posing with 10 cans of beer and pointing his finger, flipping the bird, in front of the Se og Hør front page with the title Showing No Remorse, the photograph we have seen many, many times at this point. After the police arrested him for the 3rd time and charged him with our crime, Mette-Marit's son was remanded in custody for a week with a restraining order. And a restraining order. Well, Okay. Marius Borg is currently in rehab abroad, although apparently that wasn't true. Or maybe, I don't know. Did they put him back in rehab? We don't really know. But he continues to violate the restraining order. On Sunday, Say Ohor revealed that he has violated the restraining order against his ex-girlfriend for the 4th time. Demands Mette-Marit be questioned by the police. Juliana Snekkestad's legal counsel, Petter Grudem, reacted strongly after Marius turned the case upside down and accused Juliana Snekkestad of being violent. He has previously confirmed that he has asked the police to summon Crown Princess Mette-Marit for questioning. Juliana Snekkestad's lawyer is unlikely to have requested such interrogations unless he believes the Crown Princess may have information in the case that would help support his client's explanation that Marius has abused her physically and mentally. Press officers for the Oslo Police District, Uni Grundal, confirmed to VG that the police have received the request to question Mette-Marit, but will not say whether the police have plans to question the Crown Princess. Juliana's lawyer has not yet received a response from the police. And there it is. The police may wish to question Mette-Marit, but they cannot order her to give an explanation. But what Mette-Marit must do, according to Section 230 of the Criminal Code, is to appear before the police if they wish to question her. So she has to appear, but she doesn't have to answer any questions? Is that what I'm to understand? I guess so. Okay, and this, of course, there is Mette-Marit, there is Crown Prince Haakon, and in the background here is Crown Princess Victoria of Sweden. Not involved in any of this, as far as we know. Even if a witness does not have an obligation to give a statement pursuant to the first or second paragraph, the witness is obliged, upon summons, to appear at a police station or sheriff's office in the police district where he or she lives and is staying to clarify whether he or she is willing to give a statement to the police. The law states. As the mother of Marius, Mette-Marit is exempt from testifying in a court case. Wow, that's a law in Norway? Okay. However, the court can still force Mette-Marit to give a statement. Oh, okay. Have to give a statement, don't have to testify. Got it. The court may, nevertheless, order a witness to give a statement when it is reasonable after an overall assessment of the nature of the case, the significance of the statement for the clarification of the case, and the consequences for the witness of giving a statement, reads Section 122 of the Criminal Procedure Act. King Harold can intervene. As Mette-Marit has the title of Crown Princess, King Harold, 87, can decide that Mette-Marit will not have to testify. According to the Constitution, the king is above the law. Article 37 of the Constitution is crystal clear. The royal princes and princesses shall not be responsible for their persons to anyone other than the king or whomever he appoints as judge over them. Okay, so that makes it clear. Saved Marta from scandal trial. King Harold has used this paragraph once before when Princess Marta, 53, was summoned as a witness in a spicy divorce case in England. Let's see. Yes, okay. Marta allegedly began a romance with show jumper Philip Morris, 18 years her senior. He was married at the time, and the princess was summoned as a witness in the divorce case between the writer and his ex-wife in England in 1994. The scandal made headlines around the world, including back home in Norway. And here it is, this being Princess Marta, and this being Irene Morris, the unfortunate wife of the oddly named Philip Morris, no relation to the tobacco company, one presumes. And boy, this isn't much of a battle, is it? Oh, goodness. Poor Irene. Okay. Continuing. It was British tabloids that revealed the romance the two allegedly had. Neither party has commented on the alleged affair, but Seohor interviewed ex-wife Irene. My motive is not to harm Princess Marta. My motive is to tell the truth. Too often, royals and dignitaries are supposed to be protected when they can knowingly harm, hurt, or destroy the lives of other people. I am a simple, honest cashier who lived a happy life with the man I love and had children with. Oh no, they had kids too, said Irene Morris, and continued. Then a princess comes and tears down the walls of my little world, makes me a nervous wreck, takes away my son's respect for his father. Well, I think he did that. Leaves a home in ruins, Mrs. Morris told Seahor, and here is Princess Marta Louisa back here with Philip Morris, her alleged paramour. Okay. Relax. Testify. The king ensured that Princess Marta did not have to appear in court. In a letter to the British Foreign Office, the Attorney General wrote the following at the time. His Majesty the King has decided that Princess Marta Louisa shall not be held liable in any court. It follows, in accordance with the Constitution, that the princess cannot respond to charges or give testimony. A press release from the Prime Minister's office in 1994 referred to the Ministry of Justice's legal department, which had looked into whether Marta had to testify in the infidelity scandal in England. This work was done before the king took action and asked the Attorney General to respond to the British. Swinging, oh, that's a loaded term. Princess Marta and the married Philip Morris swung on the dance floor. Well, you can't even tell who that is with their hair, covering their face. And this man, okay, that's Philip Morris. I would not recognize him. Although it does look like there are horses on the lady's blouse. So being that Marta Louisa was an equestrian and Philip was an equestrian. And as a matter of fact, Marta now is the co-founder of a clothing company or, clothing house, well, whatever. They sell clothes. I don't know if they're actually designing it. They probably have someone do that for them. But she and a couple friends have a company called Hest. I think that's how you pronounce it. I guess that's horse in Norwegian. And when I cover the marriage of Princess Marta Louisa and her shaman husband, we're going to discuss a little bit her clothing company and how it factored into her wedding and the controversy around that. And that's going to be our next stream. That will be part 7 of the scandals of the Norwegian Royal Family. I'm really, really hoping to be able to do that stream live tomorrow, but we'll see how things go, and we'll see how the technological difficulties that I've been dealing with I think we've conquered. Hopefully will remain conquered, and we will continue tomorrow live, or we might have to record, but coming soon. We've actually got a lot of things planned, a lot of fun, interesting things that will be coming out before the end of the year on French Dip Empire. So stay tuned, and while you're at it, if you're here, hit the subscribe, hit the like, go ahead and share. Comment in the live chat if you're here live, or comment on the video itself if you're listening to this not live. Right now, live is the 14th of December, 2024. So, continuing the article. Okay. The end result was that Marta did not have to face her scorned wife, well, I know it wasn't her wife, in a British courtroom. Whether Mette-Marit should be questioned has also been a topic on NRK's Dagsnytt 18. I'm not saying that correctly. I guess that's like, well, anyway, a TV show, I guess. It is an old Norwegian principle ever since Magnus Lagabøte, I don't know how to pronounce that, in the 13th century, that a mother should not have to testify against her son. A mother should not have to choose between her obligation to her son and taking part in a legitimate desire to solve a case, stated lawyer Marius Dietrichson, and added, to talk about the elephant in the room. Oh, this term is going to come up again. This is not an ordinary criminal case. It is the case that all citizens are equal before the law. That must also be done in this case. He should not be treated more strictly than others, nor should he be treated more leniently than others. Well, that's already happened. And it is not customary to drag the mother into criminal cases. Dietrichson concluded, but what if the mother has also committed crimes related to the son's alleged crimes? What then? The agony of choice. Oh boy, this is a loaded headline. Down here. Will she remain silent? Now it is up to Mette-Marit whether she wants or can help clarify the serious case where there is a claim against claim about who has been violent in the relationship with the it says boyfriend, they mean girlfriend. Mette-Marit's testimony could ultimately lead her son being convicted or acquitted. But will she exercise her right to remain silent? Or will King Harold save her from the witness box by referring to the Constitution? Well, that could be quite controversial. Would the Norwegians want to see the king step in front of Mette-Marit and use the Constitution to protect her? I don't know about that. I'm not Norwegian. I don't live in Norway, so I don't know. If you are, let me know. Or if you're not, what do you think? What would you prefer? Is this like a president giving his son a pardon? It's kind of what he did with Marta, wasn't it? A little bit, not quite the same, not quite as serious, but nonetheless, there you go. So King Harold has used the Constitution before to protect a family member from embarrassment. Will they protect Mette-Marit? Will they throw her under the bus? Will Håkon continue to stand by his lady? The lady that he, possibly could have given up the throne for, but didn't have to. And now, will he lose the throne anyway? It remains to be seen. So, there aren't two, I have a bunch of tabs open, but there's just one more, I think, serious article. And then we'll get into, this has not been a fun or funny topic at all, although there are moments of unintentional comedy, maybe not hilarity, that come up. So I've saved a few of those that I've collected as I've been doing this research. And we will go over that to at least end on a little bit of a lighter note. Not trying to be insensitive. It's a very unpleasant case, but it's nice to end on a high note, perhaps. So the last serious article, and I'm not reading this entire thing. It's the speculation about King Harold's New Year's speech, and it is traditional in monarchies that the monarch gives a Christmas speech or a New Year's speech, an end-of-the-year speech. The Queen of England, Elizabeth II, was very famous for hers, and I know Queen Margrethe II in Denmark did hers, and now we've had a turnover of monarchs. Well, not in Norway. We've still got good old, I don't know about good. We've got old King Harold, and there is great excitement about what the king will say in this year's New Year's speech. Will he address the elephant in the room? There we go again with that term. The king's dilemma. And here is King Harold. He's looking old, not looking great. This is actually not the worst recent photo that I have seen of the man. He's had very bad health problems recently, and the extra stress from his step-grandson, his bonus grandson, if you will, and his daughter probably not helping. So here we go. And I think there has been even a little speculation about Queen Sonia, or was it Queen Sonia or Queen Sylvia from Sweden? I can't remember now. Well, hopefully Queen Sonia isn't also having health problems, since King Harold is having enough of his own. So this is an article from today. Again, I'm not reading the whole thing, but it mentions that King Harold's speeches apparently have been popular, warm, moving, that he's a great speaker, that he gave a memorable speech that got worldwide publicity back in 2016, where he praised the, as it says, liberal and accepting Norway. Norwegians are girls who love girls, boys who love boys, and girls and boys who love each other. Norwegians believe in God, Allah, everything and nothing, he said, and continued. Norway is you. Norway is us. Okay. And yeah, he got a lot of international attention, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, they're just saying, is he going to talk about the Marius issue? Is he going to address any of this stuff? And obviously that remains to be seen. Here's another photograph of King Harold. You can see he's not doing so great. So it will indeed be interesting to see. Will he address anything at all? Will he mention, as I recall, the annus horribilis, I guess it is, that Queen Elizabeth II mentioned on her one, I guess it was a Christmas speech, and that was the year, was that the year that was there a divorce and Windsor burnt down? I can't remember what year that was, but the Queen Elizabeth II's famous Annus Horribilis speech, I guess King Harold is up for his own horrible year speech. Yes, and specifically, yes, the king was hospitalized in Malaysia, and I forget what that was for, but he had to have some kind of like emergency surgery and then came back to Norway. So that's where we're at. I think that brings us up to date on everyone and everything that has happened with Marius. And now for a little bit of a lighter note, in with all of the heavy criminal reporting and unpleasantness, there's also been some ridiculousness. And this is an example of tabloid ridiculousness. This is an article from the 11th, so just 3 days ago. Crown Princess Mette-Marit. This detail is eye-catching. Oi, that's bouncy and not typically royal. Check out the new booties. And they have her booties circled, her little, not quite ankle boots. They look taller than that. Slouchy, purple, velvet perhaps? Looks like it. You can kind of see them here. And then here we go. Wow, look at that. Look at those purple boots. That is striking. Advent colors. This cheeky shoe choice will really set the Advent mood. Yes, when your son is leaving rehab to violate a restraining order and catching our crime charge after our crime charge, what you really want to be doing for the Christmas season is new boot goofing. The recycling princess, yes. New boot goofing, if you're not a Reno 911, yep, movie of the week in the chat says Prince would be jealous. Well, I think Prince would be glad to be alive if he were around. You mean Prince, the late singer, you know, Little Red Corvette, Purple Rain, etc. Not any of these other princes. When we're talking about royal families, you have to really be specific. You can't just drop the name Prince because it could be a title. Okay, yes, Prince would be well, actually, they look like they could have been Prince's shoes, but I'm assuming he had much tinier feet. It is a gorgeous color, I have to admit. I love it very much. If you can see the background of French Dip Empire, you know that I'm a fan of that color. I don't think the boots are necessarily going that great with the rest of the outfit. And if we're criticizing outfits, I can certainly criticize Mette-Marit's giant weird coat thing here in the photograph from the Nobel Peace Prize ceremony at the Oslo City Hall. And Queen Sonia, she's usually quite lovely, but this outfit is very 80s to me. I don't really enjoy the little flared jacket bottom. It just screams 80s to me, but you know, when you're in your 80s, you can, I guess, do whatever you want as long as you're comfortable and nothing's, you know, loose. I mean, hanging loose. You know what I mean. Anyway, Mette-Marit, not exactly known for her fashion choices. She's not the most stylish royal in the European on the European scene, but yeah, new boot goofing. And sorry, I didn't finish that. If you're not a Reno 911 fan, please enjoy Lieutenant Dangle with his new boots. He's just goofing. New boot goofing. That's what you do when you got some new boots. You show them off. There you go. Look at Dangle. Thomas Lennon. What a talent. Very funny. Okay, Reno 911. Funny show. Okay, so more ridiculousness from the tabloids. Now, as I mentioned earlier in this stream, the tabloids use the occasion of Bill Gates's daughter having a baby to tie that into the Marius discussion. And they dug up an old photograph when Bill Gates and his family visited the Norwegian Crown Princely Royal Family, and they actually had a photograph of Marius like hugging Jennifer Gates, like to say hi to her or bye, a little unclear. But anyway, they used this photograph, very sensational headline, but there's no controversy or scandal specifically about Bill Gates's daughter and Marius. They just, they met once or twice. So here's another example of, can we drag another noteworthy name into this situation? And this is a bit of an older an article, pardon me. This is from the 28th of November. This is from last month. And this is Tom Parker Bowles, the son of the current Queen of the United Kingdom, Queen Camilla. And he looks like he just woke up and someone shoved a camera in his face, but there you go. Tom Parker Bowles feels for the Norwegian royal family. Queen Camilla's son speaks out about the criminal case against Marius Borg Hoiby. And you may wonder, why? Why is he bothering to talk about this? Who really cares? Why does he care? I don't know that he does. But anyway, I'm not reading the full article, but I just thought it was funny. Queen Camilla's son, Tom Parker Bowles, 49, is currently in Norway in connection with his publication of the book At Table with the Crown. Is that the full title? Is that the English title? Okay. Parker Bowles tells TV2 that he has been informed of the criminal case against Marius Borg Hoiby. I feel for the Norwegian royal family and hope that everything will work out, the 49-year-old tells the website. Well, that's very nice of him, but what else is he going to say? Well, we've got one of those in our family too. I mean, what is he going to say? And here's Tom with his mother, Camilla, Queen Camilla. He describes it as a big talking point and points out that the press in England is also writing about the case. The 49-year-old says that he tends not to read the cases himself. I guess that means articles. I myself was very naughty as a young man and was used to being in the newspapers when I didn't behave, he explains. Well, I hope you weren't R-criming anyone, Tom. I've never heard any allegations or rumors or anything like that against Tom Parker Bowles, so I'm not making any, and I don't think there are any. And I certainly hope there aren't any, because I would not want there to be any victims. Here again, Tom and his mom, Queen Camilla. Okay, and I don't think we have to read the rest of this. I just thought it was funny that they just used, they just used Tom Parker Bowles. He's just trying to shill his book and, make some, I guess, legitimate money for himself. And he's just like, look, I don't know. I can't talk about this. My mom is the queen. Please don't drag me into this R-crime nonsense with another royal family who just happen to be the distant cousins of my stepfather. Okay. And, okay, that is the last article that I have, and the final thing that I have before we wrap up this stream is a little bit of humor from the Norway subreddit, or Norwegian subreddit. And here we go. If you need a last-minute holiday gift, you might want to see if you can find yourself a legitimate Marius sweater. This little joke, as you can see, it is a sweater with the face of Marius Borg Hoiby behind bars. Jailed Marius. And this is not just a little joke, but it is a pun. Because there is a thing, I did not know this before today, so not today, but I learned by doing this research that a Marius sweater, a Marius Genser, is a Norwegian style sweater with traditional patterns. This is a Marius sweater. That is the name. And so as you can see, I'll click to enlarge in the photo, named after World War II flying ace and skier Marius Eriksson. And that's what it looks like. And you can see someone took a picture of a Marius sweater and just sort of, I assume, this is not a real sweater, although I will give much, much applause to anyone who actually produces this real sweater. And if you send me one, I will promote it on this show. Send me a free Marius sweater with this image on it, and I will promote whatever website you have or what have you, as long as it's not anything bad. As long as it's not anything criminal or otherwise offensive. If it's legit and decent, someone send me one of these sweaters. I would love to have one. Movie of the week in the chat says, oh, didn't know that kind of sweater had a name. Neither did I. I did not realize it was an actual thing. So this, yes, a Marius sweater is a thing, and some very funny Norwegian speaker made the Marius sweater of a jailed Marius. Sad, but you know, we have to find our laughs where we can when things are so otherwise dark and unpleasant. So his alleged crimes, absolutely not funny. That sweater, funny. So leaving on a little bit of a light note, that is it for this stream for tonight. If you are, well, it's tonight right now for me, not necessarily for you. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, I hope you're having a good one. And thank you for joining French Dip Empire. I am the Empress. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and come back for our next stream, which will definitely be The Princess and the Shaman, continuing our series on the scandals of the Norwegian Royal Family. And coming up in future shows, I don't want to say specifically. I've got some fun socialite debutante stories to do. Well, it's sort of one story with multiple parts, and a very special gentleman that I would like to do a show on. He was in the news. I guess it was summertime. I think it was around the 4th of July. And he's been out of the news since then, but he's an interesting character. And I'd really like to take a look at him and why he made the news, because it was odd and funny. And I think if you enjoy these shows, you will enjoy that one too. So thank you for joining me. Have a good day, and I will see you next time.